Syrian girl here. I want to talk to you about Amnesty International, who have been using some of my videos to advertise for donations for their assault on Syria, without my consent or permission. Amnesty is not the neutral, anti-war, human rights organization that it claims to be. In fact, it is the opposite. It is a tool of war for the US empire. Please do not donate to them and make an effort to share the following with anyone who does. George Soros is the man behind the operation. He funds Amnesty along with many other NGOs that promote colored revolutions and humanitarian interventions, and one of those NGOs is called Avaaz, and Avaaz has been providing logistical support to the insurgents in Syria for the last 15 months. So, by giving money to Amnesty International, you're directly funding George Soros, who is directly funding Syria's insurgency. Soros was also convicted of insider trading, and he was said to help the Nazis confiscate land in World War II, even though he was quoted as saying, "Assad is no better than Hitler," and also said, "Where were the drones and special forces of the US and why aren't they attacking Syria?" Also, the new executive director of Amnesty International is Susan Nosal, who is an advocate of humanitarian interventions, i.e., wars. Is there anything more Orwellian than the word humanitarian war? She has worked under Hillary Clinton, Susan Rice, and the infamous Madeleine Albright. She was involved in a leading role in the subversive US foreign policy regarding Libya, Iran, Syria, and the Ivory Coast. So the organization Amnesty International, their bias is becoming more and more overt. Scandal arose this year when Amnesty International's advertising clearly took sides with NATO in Afghanistan. "Keep the progress going" was the slogan, and it painted NATO as a humanitarian occupiers and the war in Afghanistan as a war for women's rights as opposed to a war for opium and oil pipeline control. Over the last year, Amnesty has been running an extravagant disinformation campaign against Syria. Well-meaning people are giving money to what they think is helping civilian lives, when in fact they are giving money to help with the destruction of a nation. And Syria is not a charity case. We are not your feel-good moment, and your help is killing us. Amnesty International has been caught lying numerous times, and yet people still view them as angels that could do no wrong, that could never lie. They helped spread the baby in incubators story during the first Gulf War, and in Libya they promoted the ethnic cleansing of black immigrant workers by spreading the lie that Gaddafi was employing sub-Saharan Africans as mercenaries. And after all the killing was over, Amnesty International then admitted that they had no evidence that black mercenaries were being used by Gaddafi's forces. Amnesty International claimed that the Syrian government butchered to death 18-year-old Zainab al-Husni. But this story fell flat on its face when Zainab turned up alive and well on Syrian television. Amnesty have continued spreading disinformation about the Hula massacre, taking the US government line contrary to eyewitness accounts and the report by the German newspaper FAZ. While Saudi Arabian troops commit crimes against unarmed Bahraini protesters, Amnesty chooses to concentrate on stopping only one side of the violence in Syria, the Syrian government and military. Amnesty has been asking its followers to pressure Russia to stop arming Syria, but they never ask their followers to pressure the US and Qatar to halt money and arms shipments to insurgents. This is the kind of image they have been using to advertise the Syrian insurgency on their Facebook page. And here is the reality. I think Amnesty International needs a new name. I've come up with Travesty International. I've also heard Shamnesty International and Amnesty International. If you can come up with a name for them that better suits their true identity, Please post it in the comments below.